Have you ever noticed how some people seem to open doors everywhere they go? Better jobs, stronger relationships, more respect, just by the way they speak. It's not always about looks, money, or status. Sometimes it's something far more powerful. It's how they communicate. Think about the last time you met someone who wasn't particularly famous or extraordinary at first glance, but the moment they started talking, something changed. Their words felt confident. Their presence felt warm. You actually enjoyed listening to them. And without even realizing it, you wanted to keep the conversation going. That's because communication isn't just a skill, it's a superpower. If you want to build a personality that people respect, remember, and admire, there's one principle you need to follow. Speak with purpose, speak with clarity, and speak with intention. Every word you say should be thoughtful, structured, and easy to understand. When your thoughts are clear, your words naturally become powerful, and that combination creates a strong, unforgettable presence. In this video, we're going to walk through 10 practical techniques that can completely upgrade the way you communicate. These aren't complicated theories. They're simple, real-world tools you can start using immediately. And if you stay with me until the end and actually practice them, you'll see a real transformation in how you speak and how people respond to you. Let's start with something most people underestimate. Before you even say a word, you've already said a lot. Psychologists suggest that people form a strong first impression within just a few seconds. That means long before you explain who you are, others have already started deciding how confident, trustworthy, or capable you seem. How? Through your body language. Imagine two people sitting in a waiting area before a job interview. Both have the same qualifications. One is slouched over, scrolling on their phone, looking distracted. The other is sitting upright, shoulders relaxed, with a slight natural smile. Who seems more confident? Even without speaking, the second person sends a message. I'm prepared, I'm composed, I respect myself. And that silent message matters. So here's what you can do. Walk into any room with quiet confidence, even if you feel nervous inside. Keep your posture straight. Make comfortable eye contact. Let your smile be natural, not forced. And avoid restless movements that signal anxiety. People don't just hear your words, they feel your presence first. Now, let's move to one of the most powerful tools in communication, storytelling. If you want people to truly listen to you, remember this. Facts inform, but stories connect. Let's say you want to explain the importance of hard work. You could say, hard work leads to success. That's true, but it's also forgettable. Now imagine you say, there was a young boy who had no electricity at home, so every night he studied under a streetlight. People laughed at him. Years later, he became a doctor and ended up helping the very people who once doubted him.
That sticks, doesn't it? Stories create images. They create emotion, and most importantly, they stay in people's minds. Whenever you're explaining something, whether in a meeting, a conversation, or even teaching, try to include a short story or example. Keep it simple, include a challenge, and end with a meaningful result. When people see themselves in your story, they don't just hear you, they connect with you. And that leads us to something even deeper, empathy. If you truly want to become a great communicator, you have to learn how to understand people, not just respond to them. Empathy means putting yourself in someone else's position. It means listening, not just to reply, but to understand. Imagine telling someone about a stressful situation, and they immediately dismiss it. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. That feels cold, right? Now imagine someone listens carefully, looks at you, and says, that sounds really difficult. I can understand why you feel that way. Same situation, but completely different impact. When people feel understood, they trust you. They open up. They feel safe. So practice this. Listen fully without interrupting. Acknowledge emotions instead of ignoring them. Use simple phrases that show you understand. And most importantly, be present. Put away distractions and give your full attention. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is simply, I understand.
Let's continue with a small detail that creates a surprisingly big impact: using someone's name. This idea was made famous by Dale Carnegie, who pointed out that a person's name is one of the most meaningful sounds they can hear. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Your name carries your identity, your memories, your sense of self. When you use someone's name naturally in conversation, you're doing more than speaking. You're making them feel recognized. Picture this. You order a drink at a cafe, and a few minutes later, the barista calls out your name with a smile. Suddenly, the experience feels more personal. You're no longer just another customer. You're someone they noticed. The same principle works everywhere. In conversations, meetings, interviews, when you use someone's name at the right moments, it builds connection instantly. Just don't overdo it. Keep it natural. Use it when greeting, emphasizing a point, or ending a conversation warmly. Now let's talk about a skill that separates average communicators from exceptional ones: emotional intelligence. This is the ability to understand your own emotions and manage them, while also recognizing and influencing how others feel. But one key idea matters most: learning to respond instead of react. Reaction is immediate and emotional. Response is thoughtful and controlled. Imagine someone criticizes your idea in a meeting. If you react, you might become defensive or say something you regret. But if you pause, even for a few seconds, you can respond calmly. That's helpful feedback. Let's explore how we can improve it. Same situation, completely different outcome. In personal life, it's just as important. In moments of conflict, taking a breath before speaking can prevent damage that words spoken in anger might cause. To build this skill, practice pausing before you speak. Identify what you're feeling: anger, frustration, insecurity, and then choose a response that serves the bigger picture, not just the moment. People who master this don't just communicate better, they lead better, connect better, and earn deeper respect. Now here's a subtle technique that can make conversations flow effortlessly: the echoing technique.
This is simple. Repeat a key word or phrase the other person just used, not in a robotic way, but in a natural, curious tone. For example, if someone says, "I've been really overwhelmed at work lately," you might respond, "Overwhelmed at work?" That small reflection encourages them to continue. It shows you're listening, and it gives them space to go deeper. Or if a colleague says, "It took me 3 months to finish that project," you can respond, "3 months? That sounds intense." Now they're more likely to share more details. You're not interrupting, advising, or changing the topic. You're simply guiding the conversation forward. Used correctly, this technique makes people feel heard, and when people feel heard, they naturally open up. Next, let's talk about something that can completely change how your message is received: your voice. You could have the best words in the world, but if your delivery is flat or monotonous, people will lose interest quickly. Your voice is like music, and the way you use it, your tone, speed, and pauses, creates meaning beyond the words themselves. This is called voice modulation. Start with pitch. If your tone never changes, you sound either dull or tense, but when you vary it, slightly higher for excitement, slightly lower for seriousness, you create emotional depth. Then comes pace. Speaking too fast overwhelms listeners. Too slow, and you lose their attention. Adjust your speed depending on what you're saying. Faster for energy, slower for important points. And don't underestimate the power of silence. A well-placed pause gives your words weight. It allows people to absorb what you just said. It creates anticipation. Great speakers don't rush. They guide the listener. Now, here's a technique that helps you stand your ground without conflict: the broken record method. Sometimes people push you, trying to change your mind, cross your boundaries, or pressure you into something uncomfortable. Instead of arguing or over-explaining, you calmly repeat your position. For example, if someone insists you do something you don't want to do, you simply say, "No, thank you, I'm not interested." And if they continue, you repeat the same response, calmly, without irritation. No long explanations, no emotional reactions, just steady repetition. Over time, people stop pushing, not because you argued better, but because you stayed consistent. This approach works in social situations, negotiations, and even professional settings. It shows confidence without aggression. And that's the balance great communicators understand.
Let's move into something that can instantly change the mood of any conversation: Humor. Now, humor doesn't mean telling jokes all the time or trying to be the funniest person in the room. It's about bringing a sense of ease, warmth, and relatability into your communication. When used naturally, humor can break tension, make people feel comfortable, and build quick connections. It also makes you more memorable because people remember how you made them feel. Imagine you're in a job interview and the interviewer asks about a mistake you've made. You could answer in a stiff, nervous way, or you could smile slightly and say, "Just one, I've made enough to write a small book," then smoothly transition into your real answer. What happens? The interviewer relaxes, the atmosphere becomes lighter, and you come across as confident and human, not robotic. Or picture a serious meeting where everyone looks tense. A light situational comment, something simple and respectful, can ease the room and open people up to better communication. The key is to keep it natural. Don't force jokes. Avoid making fun of others. If anything, gently laugh at yourself. That kind of humor builds trust instead of breaking it, because when people laugh with you, they feel closer to you. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful and often misunderstood elements of communication: vulnerability. Many people think being open about struggles or emotions makes them look weak. In reality, it does the opposite. When you share something real, something honest, you become relatable. You stop being just a speaker, and you become a human being others can connect with. Think about it. Everyone is dealing with something internally. When you express your own challenges in a thoughtful way, it makes others feel less alone. But vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or turning every conversation into a personal confession. It means choosing the right moment, sharing something genuine, and focusing on what you learned from it. For example, instead of presenting yourself as someone who has always succeeded, you might say, "There was a time when I felt completely stuck. Nothing seemed to work. But that experience forced me to rethink everything, and that's where things began to change."
That kind of honesty creates a deeper connection. People don't just hear your words, they feel them. If you want to use vulnerability effectively, keep it simple. Share a real experience, be honest but concise, focus on the lesson, and end with growth or hope. Because people may admire perfection, but they connect with authenticity. And that brings everything together. Communication is not about using big words or trying to impress people. It's about creating connection. It's about making others feel understood, respected, and valued. You don't need to be perfect to communicate well. You just need to be present, aware, and genuine. When you start applying these techniques, your body language, your storytelling, your empathy, your tone, your emotional control, you'll notice something powerful. It's not just that your words improve, it's how people respond to you that changes. They listen more, they trust you more, they remember you. And that's real influence. So take these ideas and practice them in your daily life, in conversations, in meetings, in simple interactions. Over time, they won't feel like techniques anymore. They'll become part of who you are. And once that happens, your communication won't just deliver messages, it will create impact. Thanks for spending this time learning and growing. If you found this helpful, keep exploring, keep practicing, and stay curious. There's always more to improve, and every conversation is a new opportunity. Until next time, keep speaking with clarity, confidence, and heart.